In this segment, we're going to be talking about permission to touch. Anytime you have to actually physically touch a player, you have to get their permission before you do that. So if Bucky had something that I needed and it was on his person's, I would have to ask Bucky permission to touch before I could actually physically do that. Now the player who you want to touch, if they are not comfortable with any kind of physical touching, they would just say permission denied or no, and then the other person would have to pretend. So if I have him in chains and I wanted to take him to the stocks or wherever to take him prisoner for whatever quest, just as an example, I would just say permission to touch. If he says no, then I would say okay, we're going to pretend, and then we're going to do it like this. This way he would just have to pretend that I got him holding. If I would say permission to touch and he says yes, then I would just grab him like this. I'm not going to fling him over my shoulder or do any kind of something that could be unsafe or inappropriate. It would just be a light touch just to keep the game as real as possible. So that's permission to touch. You have to do it every time you want to have physical contact with somebody in the game. So if he had something on his persons that I needed, say it was this mug or something, I would have to go permission to touch.
Yes.
And then I would grab the item off of him. So that's an example of permission to touch.